Hey everyone, this is Mike, and I'm doing a boss guide for Heroic Grim Batol in World of Warcraft. So we start off with the first boss, General Umbriss, which is a very easy fight. He's going to spawn 4 adds, I believe, 3 of which are Trog dwellers. You can kill those easily. The 4th one is a Malignant Trog, which you do not want to kill. You can, but I'd suggest against it, because if you do, the boss gets a 100% damage increase for a bit, and if the Malignant Trog is alive, it prevents more Trog dwellers from spawning, so it just helps you in the long run. So I recommend just CCing it with a sheep or a sleep or whatever you got. Other than that, the boss does 2 things you have to look out for. The first is Blitz. That's basically he'll target someone in your party, and then he'll charge towards them in about 5 seconds. And in that 5 seconds, everyone in that path, wherever he's looking, needs to get out of the way, because he'll hit you for about 30,000 damage, and then he'll also shoot you in the sky, and you'll take fall damage. So you don't want that to happen. It's just easier on your healers if you don't get hit. The other thing you look out for is Ground Siege. You basically don't stand in front of him when he does that. He'll shake the ground in front of him, and everyone in front of him takes damage. So just not like the radius isn't that far. It's like basically right directly in front of him where the tank would be. So just don't stand there. But that's the first fight. And yeah, kill ads. Look out for Blitz. Look out for Ground Siege, and CC the Malignant Trog. So the second boss is Forgemaster Throngus, or as I like to call him, Forgemaster Thong. He's pretty easy. The first thing I want to tell you about is something called Cave-In. Basically, the rocks from the roof of Grim Batol will start to fall down onto the onto a little, I don't know, like a little radius on the ground. Basically, don't stand in that. It's just a damage over time thing, and if you did Nax, it's like the Blizzard on Saffron. So just don't stand in that. Right now you're watching his first weapon phase. He has 3 weapon phases. This is the shield phase. Basically, all he does is he has a shield that shoots out fire, and he faces a random direction and starts shooting fire. Unless you're completely stupid, you'll know not to stand in that fire, so don't stand in that fire. The second phase he will do is the double sword, where he dual wields 2... Well, I guess dual wielding. Yeah, he dual wields one-handed swords, and that phase is really easy. I think he just has increased attack speed and maybe increased damage. Nothing major, so don't worry about that phase. The third, or the other, I guess, phase that he can and will do is probably the most. It's really the raid wiper, or not the raid wiper, the party wiper. If you do it wrong, it's the mace phase where he equips his mace. Everyone needs to run away. Well, not everyone. I guess whoever has aggro, so the tank typically will be running away. Because if you get hit, because I think he has like 500% extra damage with that mace, so one shot and you're dead, basically. So the tank needs to kite him away. And he's very slow when he's being kited, so don't worry. You don't have to like do anything special, just kite him around the room. But when he's being kited, be very strategic as to where you're kiting him, because everywhere he steps, he leaves a pool of fire, which is a void zone, so don't stand in that. And that's basically it for that phase. So, yeah, kite him around, and the melee, the DPS can still DPS him. Just don't stand in the fire or the cave-in that's being that's happening. Other than that, he'll impale someone, where he just impales someone on his mace or a sword or whatever, and then just does a little bit of damage and then throws them on the ground. Healer, just heal them up a little bit. So yeah, that's that. That's Forgemaster Thong. Watch out for cave-ins. Watch out for the pools of fire during the mace phase. No one but the tank should really be standing in front of him ever. The 3 weapon phases are the shield, don't stand in the fire where he's shooting, double sword, nothing special, mace, kite him round, don't stand in the fire like I said, and watch out for impale. The third boss is Dhraga Shadowburner. The first phase is just when you fight him, nothing really special to it. He does some casting. I don't know if it's interruptible, I don't think so. Don't pop any cooldowns here, just kill him up to 25%, and that's when he'll jump off the cliff and start the second phase with the dragon. So, but throughout this entire fight, there will be something spawning as it is now, the Invocation of Flame. As you can see the fire in the back. When that spawns, it's basically just going to be a pool of fire, and it's going to spawn from there. And the Invocation of Flame is going to link itself to one of your party members. It can even be you. And you need to kill that ad before it reaches that person, because If it does, it'll just, when it gets there to that person, it'll just die and do a huge AoE, which usually ends up in a wipe. So you want to kill it as quickly as possible. Ideally, just get all your DPS on it, do some slow effects on it. It doesn't have that much health, so if you have a really geared DPS, you can probably solo it. So yeah, make sure you do that. That spawns throughout the entire fight, so watch out for that. But this is the second phase with the dragon. The dragon does a couple things. The first one is Devouring Flames, and when he does that, he usually turns around, but sometimes he doesn't, or she, I guess. Basically, it'll be a frontal, wherever the head is, a cone attack, and that does, it's a breath, and that does a lot of damage, so make sure not to stand in front of the dragon when it does that. Also, I don't think it has a tail swipe, so don't worry about that, but it also spawns void zones on the ground, so just watch out for those. And then when the dragon's dead, the boss you fought in phase 1 will jump off, and you just kill him from when you from 25%. So yeah, that's all you have to do. 25% when the first boss or first phase is over. Devouring Flames is the frontal cone ability of the dragon that you want to watch out for. Watch out for the void zones it spawns. Kill all the invocation of flames before it gets to the people. And then final phase, you just kill off the boss. That's a pretty simple fight if you know what you're doing. The final boss of Grim Batol is Erudax. He does, the first thing you need to know about is Shadow Gale. Basically, randomly or periodically throughout the fight, he'll spawn a void zone somewhere in the room. For once in a while, you have to actually stand in that void zone, because in a couple of seconds, the entire room will become one giant void zone, and if you're not in that safe spot that was just there, you will be taking increasingly more and more amounts of shadow damage until you eventually die. So standing in that safe spot will help you not take that damage, and then the tank should just bring, well, tank will obviously be in that safe spot too, so DPS can continue. As you see here, I believe we're doing it. But yeah, so after this, after the Shadow Gale, the boss will spawn 2 Faceless Corruptors at the wherever you came from into the room, and on 2 on heroic, 1 on normal. But these corruptors need to be killed immediately. They don't have an aggro table, they don't aggro anyone, so DPS kill them as fast as you can. Basically, there's 2 of them, so kind of split your DPS up, root them, slow them, but they can't be stunned, so you have to kill them as quickly as possible, because they're going for the eggs in the room, and if they get to those eggs, they start casting Mending on the boss, or Mending, and that'll heal the boss, which isn't good, of course. And I think if they finish casting that, they spawn ants. I've never actually had that happen, but I read that on WoW Wiki just now, so apparently that happens. But you want to kill them as soon as possible. You don't want the boss to get healed. Another thing he does is something called Enfeebling Blow, I think is what it's called. But basically, it'll just knock the tank back, and for about 3 or 5 seconds, you'll have a debuff on you that increases the amount of damage you take by 100% on normal, I believe, and 200% on heroic. Usually letting the boss just run to you will give you enough time for that debuff to go off. But if you have to, kite the boss a bit, or if you have a plate melee that can, or plate DPS that can help taunt off for a bit, that you can do that as well. But the knockback, just don't die from that. The final thing you should know about is Blinding Shadows. He'll cast on random people. That roots them in place for, I believe, 8 seconds and heals him for a bit. So if you can, cleanse that. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But yeah, that's the final boss. Shadow Gale, stand in the void zone and don't die. After that, the Corruptors spawn, kill them before they get to the eggs, and heal the boss. Knockback, you get the debuff that increases the damage you take, so be mindful of that. And then Blinding Shadow roots and heals the boss over time. So that was Heroic Grim Batol. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I don't know how many more heroics I'm going to do, but hopefully I get to all of them. Thank you guys for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, tell your friends, more videos to come. Please check the description box for more links and stuff that you should check out. But I'm Mike, and I'll see you all later.